morning. I'm Sherry Williams, the President and CEO of Prevent Blindness. I would like to thank everybody for being here today and expressing an interest in how we can best work together to make this year's 4th of July celebration safe for all Ohioans. I'm here today to welcome you on behalf of Prevent Blindness and the Ohio Eye Care Coalition. Founded in 1997, the Ohio Eye Care Coalition, or as we call it, the OECC, is a volunteer partnership of nonprofit organizations that all care about eye health, vision health, and safety. We care about fireworks safety because 20% of serious fireworks injuries were to the eye last year, and generally around that average every year. Members of the OECC include the Ohio Ophthalmological Society, the Ohio Optometric Association, Opticians Association of Ohio, the Ohio Department of Health, and Prevent Blindness. The OECC also formed another volunteer group called the Ohio Fireworks Safety Coalition in 1997. I would like to recognize the OECC and Fireworks Coalition members in attendance today. We have Mark Glassbar, who is Executive Director of the Opticians Association of Ohio. Give a wave, Mark. Thank you for being here. Rick Hoffman, a member of our board, but also the Director of Safety and Health at AEP. Give a wave, Rick. Thank you. And I thank Rachel Cordray from Mount Carmel Health System. Rachel, in the back there, thank you for being here. Also, we have Marissa Weisel, who is a member of our board of directors. I saw Marissa back there. And from the OSMA, also a member of the Ohio Fireworks Safety Coalition. Thank you all for being here. I want to thank SMORE of America and American Electric Power for their partnership and support of fireworks safety. We have several presenters here today who will talk about various aspects of fireworks safety, and then we will open the floor up for questions at the end, and then move outdoors for a fireworks demonstration. It's not pouring rain, I guess. Now I'd like to introduce Dr. Gary Smith, President of the Child Injury Prevention Alliance and founder and director of the Center for Injury Research and Policy of the Research Institute at Nationwide Children's Hospital. Dr. Smith has been an active researcher and advocate in the field of injury prevention for more than 25 years. Dr. Smith has conducted 2 studies of fireworks-related injuries in the United States and an additional 2 studies of injuries outside the United States. He's recognized as a national and international expert on this topic. Please welcome Dr. Smith, who will share his knowledge with us on this important injury problem among children. Thank you.
Now you can see. Good morning. Thank you, Sherry, for the introduction. I'm pleased to be here again this year. As she said, I'm the president of the Child Injury Prevention Alliance, and I've also headed up the emergency department at Children's Hospital here in Columbus. I was there for 8 years, and now I'm the director of the Center for Injury Research and Policy. You know, I've spent a number of years working in busy emergency departments across the country, big trauma centers, and I've treated children with many types of injuries, including injuries associated with consumer fireworks. As Sherry mentioned, I'm also very active with publishing on various topics. Consumer fireworks is one of them. I was the lead author of the American Academy of Pediatrics policy statement on firework-related injuries to children. I was also the Academy's representative when we worked with the National Fire Protection Association to create a group called the Alliance Against Consumer Fireworks, which now has grown to more than 20 organizations, national and international organizations representing medical, public health, and fire groups. And I've also conducted original research on the topic of firework-related injuries to children. So someone who's been around for a while and thought about this quite a bit, one of the most important things that I'm going to tell you today is as follows. There is no safe way to use consumer fireworks. Every type of legally available firework in this country has been associated with serious injury or death. In 2006, we published a national study of consumer firework-related injuries to children. It included more than 85,000 kids treated in hospital emergency departments across this country during a 14-year period. One of the most important findings of this study was that almost 1/4 of the children were bystanders. 1/4 were bystanders. They weren't even handling the fireworks. They were simply there as spectators, and they were injured. They also disproportionately represented more than 1/3 of those requiring admission to the hospital, which underscores the severity of their injuries. So this tells us that simply being near someone using consumer fireworks will put a child at risk for serious injury. And this dispels the myth that a child can stand by and watch as an adult uses backyard fireworks. Now, these findings agree with the previous study we did. This was published on a study that we did in Kansas City. It included more than 300 children treated during a 16-year period. Injuries in that series of patients was really serious. 11% were admitted to the hospital, 1 patient died, 5% went to the operating room, and 10% had long-term permanent effects from their injury, including 2% of vision loss. Now, in this study, children were bystander 26% of the time, so it agrees with the previous study. But in addition, this study had an additional finding that was very important. Adult supervision was present in 54% of the cases. An adult was standing right there, supervising the child at the moment of injury. And I can tell you that this really dispels that myth that you can simply prevent these injuries by closely supervising your children. And I can tell you that I hear the same words every time parents bring their children into the emergency department following one of these injuries. They say, "Doctor, I was standing right next to him. It happened so quickly, there was no time to react, and by the time I reacted, it was too late." Now let me assure you, these were good parents. They weren't negligent. They weren't misusing the firework. They had simply bought the myth that these products could be used safely. So let me underscore, close parental supervision is not enough. Private use of fireworks is unsafe under any conditions. Now, there are many other reasons not to use fireworks that I won't go into today. There's hearing loss, there's trauma that they cause to pets. Clearly important additional considerations. But let me just summarize by saying, fireworks have been and continue to be associated with serious injury, especially in the pediatric age group. These injuries can and often do occur to children who are simply bystanders, and adult supervision is not enough to prevent these injuries from happening. Families should enjoy fireworks at public displays conducted by professionals rather than purchasing fireworks for private use. Thank you. I'll turn this back over to Sherry.
Thank you, Dr. Smith. You've heard Dr. Smith report that consumer fireworks can be very dangerous and change lives forever by causing permanent injuries and sometimes even death. Here's some data that was released late on Friday from the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission that tracks on an annual basis fireworks injuries and death. According to the 2014 data released last Friday, last year an estimated 10,500 people were sent to the emergency room for treatment of fireworks-related injuries. Of great concern is that sparklers accounted for an estimated 1,400 department-treated injuries, which represents 20% of all the total fireworks-related injuries. The population most affected, as you can guess, by these injuries was children under the age of 5. Most sparkler injuries were to the eye. There were also 11 associated deaths last year due to fireworks. This is nearly double the average death rate per year of 7.1 deaths. And in reading the news just over this weekend, we've already, unfortunately and sadly, have had 2 deaths yesterday due to fireworks. One in Walled Lake, Michigan, to a 40-year-old man who picked up one of those missiles that you see there, thinking it wasn't lit, and it was, and he held it to his face to look at the fuse, and it exploded and killed him. That was yesterday. And the same thing happened with a 12-year-old boy in Nashville, Tennessee yesterday, who picked up a mortar-type device, and it exploded in his hand, and he died in the emergency room a few hours later. So already there are 2 associated deaths that are logged to next year's 4th of July season report, which is very sad. During last year's 4th of July season, which is about the month surrounding the holiday, there were 7,000 of the 10,500 injuries, so that represents 67%. Consumers should be aware that half or nearly half of all fireworks injuries are to innocent bystanders. It varies from Dr. Smith's 33% to about 45%, depending on the year. Of the 10,500 fireworks injuries last year, 35% of those were to children under the age of 15, or nearly 3,800 children. This is the highest rate of injury among any age group. So that is a very dangerous mixture. Children either as bystanders or users of backyard fireworks. Prevent Blindness supports a total ban on backyard fireworks, including sparklers. As seemingly innocent as sparklers may sound, as Dr. Smith has pointed out, they cause great harm and damage. Now I will turn it over to Chief Frank Conway from the State Fire Marshal's Fire Prevention Bureau.
Good morning. Thank you, Sherry. I want to take a few minutes to review some of the laws in Ohio and as well introduce some of our speakers from the Ohio Fire Service who've had some experiences in their communities with fireworks. In Ohio, anyone over the age of 18 can purchase fireworks from a licensed wholesaler or manufacturer. However, as the law stands today, you must transport these items out of state within 48 hours. Fireworks may not be legally discharged in the state of Ohio by the general public. I also want to stress that there's nothing such as a backyard display of fireworks. In other words, me going out buying fireworks and inviting the neighborhood in to set up a display because, one, I'm not a licensed individual to do such a thing. And 2, there isn't such a type of license that's available for a novelist. The only items that can be legally purchased and used by the general public are what we refer to as the 4 S's. They smoke, they snap, snake, or sparkle. Can be used by the general public to celebrate the 4th of July. Again, in Ohio, the general public use of 1.4G fireworks, including firecrackers and bottle rockets, is illegal. Violating this law could result in first-degree misdemeanor, which is punishable up to $1,000 fine or 6 months in jail. Federal law also prohibits explosive devices like M80s and M100s. Local, state, and federal investigators say that some of the major causes of injuries are due to the delay, as we just heard Sherry talk about over the weekend, or early fireworks explosions, flight paths of the device varying off what was planned to be their target, debris from aerial fireworks, and mishandling of sparklers. The State Fire Marshal plays a role in the 4th of July by protecting our citizens and our visitors to the state from the dangers of fireworks. We encourage our citizens and visitors to attend authorized public fireworks displays, but even doing so, be aware of the fact that there is some hazard that can be associated with that. At this time, I'd like to introduce 3 of our fire officials from the state to share with you some of their experiences that they have had in their communities. First will be Chief George Barnett from the Rome Township Volunteer Fire Department in Lawrence County. He will be followed by Assistant Chief Mark Fife from Union Township Fire Department in Claremont County, and then finally Lieutenant David Belcher from Violet Township in Pickerington, Ohio. Chief Barnett.
Thank you, Chief Conley. First of all, I'd like to say thank you for the opportunity to speak briefly about a fireworks tragedy that took place in my township last year. July 4th, 2014 was a basic 4th of July day in my township. Throughout my township, fireworks were being set off. You could hear bangs, you could see flashes in all directions. But what neither I nor any other citizen was aware of or prepared for was the tragic event that was about to unfold. At about 9 p.m. on July 4th, in a residential subdivision, residents stated that there were fireworks going off. There were several loud explosions over their homes. At around 9:20, the fireworks began to stop. At 9:30 p.m., a neighbor saw a neighbor's house, a small wheelbarrow burning in the backyard. This wheelbarrow was up against the rear of the home and adjacent to a sunroom. The neighbor went over and knocked on the door. No one answered. He then proceeded to go around back with a bucket of water and extinguish the fire. At approximately 1:25 a.m. on July 5th, the same neighbor was awakened by his dog barking nonstop in the backyard. He went to his window to see what was going on. As he looked out, he saw the same house on fire. He called 911 to report the fire and then ran over to the home to knock on the door to awaken his neighbors. At 1:29 a.m., Rome Volunteer Fire Department received a call of a working structure fire within Tractor. Now, anyone in the fire service can tell you, we never want to receive this call. My heart sank. I responded to the scene and arrived to find heavy fire in the attic. Flames 10 to 15 feet high coming through the roof. My first engine company arrived within minutes. We began pulling lines to the front door. I was stopped by a man in the front yard. He stated that the owner went back in to get her. I paused. I questioned him. The owner, who lives here, went back in to get someone? He stated yes, his wife. And her bedroom is the first room on the right down the hallway. I ran to my 2 crews, getting ready to make entry in the front door, and told them that there were 2 people inside and where they needed to go to look. Within a short time, the first crew come out with a lifeless female. The second crew, a male. At 1:50 a.m., Leo Sire, 78, and Betty Sire, 76, was pronounced dead on the scene. I later learned that Betty was bedridden, and Leo, who had never been without his wife, had came out and went back in to save his wife. What a heroic gesture. Patricia Holsinger, the daughter of Leo and Betty, arrived on scene to find her mom and dad laying in the front yard, covered with shoes. As you can imagine, she was in total disbelief of what happened. Here's what we know about the events of that night. Based on statements and investigations conducted at the scene, we determined that the most likely cause of the fire was a firework from in the area. We recovered large bottle rockets from the immediate area of the fire. These bottle rockets are 1.4 G fireworks, commonly referred to as consumer fireworks. 1.4 G or consumer fireworks include firecrackers, bottle rockets, Roman candles, and fountains. Anyone over the age of 18 may purchase these, but they have to be removed from the state within 48 hours. It is illegal to set these fireworks off in the state of Ohio. This tragedy could have been prevented if these types of fireworks had not been set off. Although we are certain of what happened that night, the lack of evidence or the ability to link a firework to any individual, no charges have been filed. I encourage all Ohioans to attend public fireworks, where trained and licensed exhibitors set these off. Even novelty fireworks that can legally be discharged in the state of Ohio without a permit are dangerous. So please, leave it to the professionals, so tragedies like Betty and Leo never happen again. Thank you. Now I would like to turn it over to Mark Fight, Union Township Fire Department.
Good morning. As mentioned, my name is Mark Fight. I'm with the Union Township Fire Department located on the east side of Cincinnati. I would like to thank Prevent Blindness Organization, the Fire Marshal's Office, and certainly everyone for coming out this morning to recognize the significance of firework hazards. As we approach Independence Day, we think about upcoming vacations, the Major League All-Star games, backyard cookouts, and of course, our independence and the idealistic character of liberty. For many of us, the 4th of July will include the viewing of the fireworks display in our community in order to recognize the birth of our freedom and self-governance. Unfortunately, for many, the celebration will include firework displays conducted in backyards by unlicensed amateurs, resulting in serious injury or even loss of life. I would like to take just a moment to highlight one particular incident that occurred in Union Township in 2008. On the evening of July 4th, 2008, personnel of the Union Township Fire Department saw firsthand the life-changing consequences that can result from backyard fireworks. Fire and paramedic units were dispatched to a home for a report of a fireworks incident with multiple injuries. The first arriving units found 7 individuals, including 5 small children between the ages of 2 and 9, and 2 adults with a variety of injuries. The injuries, which range from severe to minor, were caused by an ignition source which we believe to be a sparkler that had been dropped into a stack of fireworks, which initiated and exploded. One of the injured toddlers received significant burns to the face, hands, arms, legs, and a large portion of the torso. 2 of the children had burns to their hands. 1 child received a burn to the head. A 5th child had burns to the legs and other injuries associated with being struck by mortars. 1 adult was treated for burns to the arms. The 2nd adult received aggressive treatment for serious life-threatening burns to the legs, hands, and torso. As we've heard here today, this incident and incidents like this could have been prevented. While everyone in this case survived, they underwent months of painful recovery and their lives were forever changed. In closing, I would just like to say thank you and ask each and every one of you to share this message that I'm about to give you. It's a message that we've already heard here today, and the message is simple. Fireworks should be left to the professionals. Professional fireworks are not only safer and legal, they provide a much better display than what you could ever produce in your backyard. Thank you.
Good morning. She said, my name is Lieutenant Dave Belcher, Violet Township Fire Department. I'm also president of the Ohio Fire Officials Association here in the state of Ohio. Just to recount some of the stats and information we share with you this morning. Fireworks also caused over 17,000 fires nationwide, tens of millions of dollars were lost. In 2014, caused 21 structure fires and resulting in $21,200 property damage in the state of Ohio, as reported to the Marshal's office here. And that does not include the tragedy you just heard described from the Chief of Rome and his community. We encourage all people to attend only authorized fireworks displays and be aware even professional fireworks situations can be dangerous. And I can specifically speak to a near miss that we had at our event last year in 2014. So it even can happen. These are explosives that are somewhat unregulated. The following tips should be adhered to when we attend these displays to make those more enjoyable for our public to witness, as the display can be safe as possible. We should obey all the monitors and ushers, all the directions from our safety forces, and our barriers are set up so that we may view the displays from a safe distance. Although it rarely happens, firework components can be undetonated and found lying on the ground. Immediately notify your closest law enforcement or fire department official and do not touch it and stay away from it. That can happen. Leave our pets at home, as you heard the doctor speak to. Pets, it can be damaging and very fearful for the pet, so that's not a good area to have our pets attend these outside displays. And leave the lighting of the fireworks to the professionally trained. I can speak to another near miss. The year before, we had some teenagers approach the barrier. They were igniting some illegal fireworks and actually distracted the shooter and almost caused an injury. So we cannot have those unauthorized people in the area and discharging these illegal fireworks. It could be detrimental to everyone. And finally, I would like to take this opportunity a moment just to remind everyone that the importance of having working smoke alarms in their homes. The best early warning system in the event of any type of fire are working smoke alarms inside your home. While you're out buying your holiday supplies this week, make a point to pick up some batteries. If you haven't tested your smoke alarm, test your smoke alarm and go home with a fresh set of batteries so that you all know that you have working smoke alarms in their residential. Thank you, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak, and I'll turn it back over to Sherry.
Thank you, Lieutenant Belcher, and all our speakers today. The Ohio Eye Care Coalition's message and position on backyard fireworks is simple. Fireworks are extremely dangerous. Do not purchase, use, or store fireworks or sparklers of any type. Protect yourself, your family, and your friends by avoiding backyard fireworks and sparklers. Attend only authorized public displays conducted by licensed professionals, but be aware, as Lieutenant Belcher has indicated, that even professional displays can be dangerous and all of the safety measures must be observed. I want to thank everybody for their attendance, and now I'd like the speakers to be available. Maybe what I'll do is I'll pass around the microphone if there are any questions from the floor, and then we'll move outside to do demonstrations. So are there any questions from the floor?
Okay. What's the fire marshal's position on legalizing fireworks? We had a bill that almost moved through the legislature last year, and I don't know that the fire marshal's office offered very strong testimony against that. Is that something the fire marshal's office supports?
What is the fire marshal's position on the legalization of backyard fireworks? That probably should go to Chief Conway.
I think our PI wants to take
I think so, yeah.
Oh, answer it afterwards. Are there any other questions from the floor? And can you give us direction about where we might be gathering outside?
Right.
Right out the door that you came in
Right.
and out front?
Yep.
And what sort of demonstration will you be conducting?
We're just going to burn a sparkler and show how hot it is.
And we hope it shows its true colors and gets up to what?
Yeah, it's usually 1,1500 degrees, sometimes, depending on which one you're using.
Hot enough to melt metal. Okay, so everybody will gather. Thank you again. And then our speakers will also be available for comment, interview after the session here. Thank you so much.
I'm going to place this in here and see how hot it gets while it's burning. And then after it's out, I'm going to take the second one and show how hot it is even after it's out. Typically these get between a little over 1,300 to 1,600 degrees. This type does. Even afterwards, it's usually around 150 degrees Fahrenheit. So if you guys, who's ever recording this, are we ready to go? You good?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. It's at 1,200. Yeah, there. And that's recording the max. So it's the max so far was what 1,656 degrees. About as hot as it's going. And then with this one, you can see even behind it, it's 100, 220, 250, 270. Yeah, even afterwards, it's still about 270 degrees. So it's still to the touch. That's pretty hot, which will definitely burn skin. That's not an issue at all. So that's really all I had. I just wanted to kind of show that. It wasn't too much. Is there any questions about that at all?
Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, no problem. Pretty straightforward. So the max was like 656 degrees, so on that one, when it's burning, and